WJLA 24/7 News. On your side at 2 starts now.
If you're in the market to buy a house, the good news is loan interest rates have come down some. The bad news is they are still, though, relatively speaking, quite high. In fact, more than double what they were just a few years ago. But folks are still borrowing and still buying. And in a stat that will likely surprise almost no one, this region among the top 5 most expensive for homes in the nation. In fact, new data found 1 of every 5 listings across the DMV was for a home costing at least $1.5 million. Joining us this afternoon, Corey Burr from the Burr Group with TTR Sotheby's International Realty. Corey, it's always nice to talk to you. If you had to sort of take the temperature of the region right now, what would you say? It's probably not a fever, but I have to think there's a lot of interest out there just because there isn't that much inventory.
Exactly right. We've gotten off to a very good start in the spring market so far, and it's been helped by a mild winter and rates having dropped from 8% on the 30-year fixed down to 6.5% at the end of December. They've crept back up in the last 3 weeks to right around 7%. So we're keeping a very sharp eye on that because that's really going to be the factor that determines how the rest of 2024 is going to be.
Clearly, rates are driving the market. If I'm living in a house that I like, but maybe would like to move someplace else, I'm staying there because I may have like a 3% mortgage or something like that, and no, I'm not going to be able to get that no matter where I go.
That's exactly right, and that's going to keep inventory low for the foreseeable future. The thought is that the rates are going to drop down into the 5s later this year, and that delta between where people currently are and where it might get into the 5s, that might be enough to loosen up some inventory, which we'll very badly need, because right now the market is still having a lot of competition because there are a lot of buyers chasing not much product.
But if you get, interest rates in the 5s or so, you're going to have the same sort of a thing. You're going to have a lot of people who are going after relatively a smaller than you might ordinarily have inventory of houses. It's going to keep prices high, I guess, is the bottom line here. We're not going to get any discounts on them, more than likely. You're going to be paying a lot of money. It's just that the interest rate on that home loan might be a little lower.
Exactly right. What we're fearful of is the only thing that's going to make the prices go down is going to be some sort of recession talk.
Yeah.
And we've avoided that for the last really 18, 24 months. But it's still out there. It could happen. A lot of other parts of the world are slowing down, but the delinquencies in mortgages is quite low, nothing like what we faced in 2008 and 2009. So I think that the market's going to stay healthy for the foreseeable future. Yes, it's going to be very expensive, but also for buyers, they're not having to face the rampant kind of competition that they had during COVID. We are getting a lot of traffic at our open houses, but instead of getting 4 or 5 or 6 offers, we might get 1 or 2 or maybe 3. And so that's a good sign for buyers that they're not going to have to chase the market even higher.
And if you're looking sort of at the macro trends too, isn't that probably better for the overall market because you're not getting homes bid up to, in some cases, just ridiculous prices? You're getting fair value for whatever the asking and selling price is, just because there isn't as much traffic. There aren't as many people trying to buy that same house.
Exactly right. It doesn't do the market a great help by having rates drop precipitously like they did during COVID and have prices go through the roof. What we like is a nice solid increase over time. What we need to continue to have happen is first-time buyers come into the market so that they start building equity, and over time they might trade up to a bigger house. So that affordability question is what we're really watching closely in hopes that first-time buyer has the courage to buy and has the income and assets to get into the market, even in a very expensive marketplace like we have in Washington.
On the other side of that transaction, what are you telling sellers right now about pricing and what to expect?
So we're trying to set expectations that they're not going to get, tons of offers after they have their open house in the first weekend. They need to prepare the property very well, and they need to price it reasonably. The market will respond, but they can't force the pricing. If it's going to go higher than the list price, so be it.
Yeah.
But don't try to force it with coming up with an exorbitant list price.
It probably doesn't make it feel any better when you have to write that monthly check for a lot of money. But interest rates at 6% historically, not all that high. We've been in a place like this a number of times before, and the only thing constant, it seems, is change there. Corey Burr from the Burr Group and TTR Sotheby International. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.